Okay, welcome everybody. Let's call to order I have no idea what today's date is.
26.
It's July 27th, Parks and Rec Commission meeting. Can we get a roll call, please?
The time is
5:33 p.m.
Commissioners, when I call your name, just a friendly reminder, you'll push your button on your microphone before you speak. When I call your name, please indicate if you are present. Commissioner Admire,
Present.
Commissioner Ballister,
Present.
Vice Chair Coladonato is absent. Commissioner Davis,
Present.
Commissioner Diaz,
Present.
Commissioner Ferguson,
Present.
Commissioner Fine,
Present.
Commissioner Finland,
Present.
Chair Moralia,
Present.
Commissioner Nagaya,
Present.
Commissioner Roddy. All members present with Vice Chair Coladonato absent and Shirley Roddy absent.
Remember, it was the last Wednesday. The agenda was posted in accordance with the operative rules, and that would have been last Wednesday, the 16th, no, 17th, thank you. And now we have a special guest. Welcome to our city manager, Scott Sides.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for inviting me and allowing me to say a few words here. I've been trying to get to a few of the commission meetings, and a couple comments I wanted to make is, and I think maybe some of the new commissioners heard me say some of these same remarks. We have got, first of all, I want to really congratulate all the new commissioners that have been appointed, and thank you for your service, and also to thank all the current commissioners for continuing your service. I know you're an advisory body to the city council members, and that's really, really important. But you also are critically important to all of us on the staff for what direction we're going, and you have your eyes and ears to the community in ways that we always do not. And so the input and feedback that you give us is really important. It helps us prepare our reports that we have to prepare and give to city council. And so we really depend on you. We have liaisons to each one of the committees. And if you're a new commissioner, I would encourage you to take advantage, get to know your city staff person. That's the liaison to your committee. That person can be very helpful for just simple questions, unusual questions, things that you might not be thinking about. We have issues from time to time, and I know the city attorney has kind of briefed all of us on it. There's this unusual little thing called the Brown Act in California. And so it's interesting, whenever I send, a lot of times I send hundreds of emails to my 5 bosses on council. And whenever I send them an email, I'll send them whatever message or update I want to send them. And I usually include all the department directors, but I always blind copy the 5 council members to prevent any violations of the Brown Act. So it's perfectly, if I send them something, I talk about something we're working on. If I don't blind copy them and just, I send it to them in the 2 category, and one of the council members writes back and says, Mr. Stiles, I think this is a terrible idea and I'm going to vote against it when it comes to the council. Well, that's a violation of the Brown Act, because they will have then shared with all 4 of the other council members about what their intentions are for voting. So we blind copy them. If that same person sends me that email and sends it just to me, and even if he or she copies all the council members or all the department directors, it's not a violation, because theoretically the other 4 council members don't know what that person's position is. And I know that the city attorney talked about as duly representatives of the city of Palm Springs. You fall into that same category, just like council members do. So there's always little things like that you might not even be thinking about. And I'd encourage you to always talk to your liaison, talk to the chair of the commission. He'll have some good expertise and local knowledge for you. So, so again, I just wanted to just say thanks and congratulations for the new members, and we look forward to working with you. And I want my staff to be as helpful as they can to all of you with everything we got going on. And on that point, we have a lot going on right now. We have a ton of work, and we were just speaking, Daniel, you and I were about all the you're coming here at a really interesting time. A lot of activities that are going on. We just, opened the first, our brand new play park at Victoria Park. It's beautiful, looks wonderful, and now we're moving right on to Demuth Park, and we're going to get that going. And of course, if we didn't talk about pickleball, we'd all be in serious trouble. So we've got a lot of stuff in the works on pickleball. We've got a Parks and Recreation master plan going on. So just when I came out here a year and a half ago, and they said, all my former colleagues in Orange County thought I was coming out here for afternoon cocktails at 3 o'clock and playing golf every day or whatever they thought. We have a lot going on, but it's all good. It's all really exciting, and a lot more to come. Do want to mention, and I know you all know, we're also going through some organizational changes in the department. Our former director, Yvonne Wise, has resigned. She's moving on to some different opportunities. And so I've sent, I know all of you should have gotten my email when I've got that information. I shared obviously all of it with my 5 bosses on city council. I then sent a note to all of you on the commission. At the same time, I sent a note to all of the Parks and Recreation employees. And then we went and met with all the employees the next day. And my message to all the employees was, we got a lot on our plate, full speed ahead. Nothing is slowing down. In fact, anybody that knows me, I've already started the recruitment process for a new director. We're going to make some decisions quick. We're going to get to it. This is a fantastic city, and there's no doubt in my mind we're going to get some terrific candidates who want to come here and want to serve the city of Palm Springs. I don't have anybody in mind. There's nobody I'm trying to figure out to bring here or anything. So we just want to find the best person that we can that can really lead the organization. Having said that, I do want to mention, and it was also really important, I touched bases with the chair of your commission. We talked a little bit, Commissioner Finland and I talked a little bit, because I think a lot of we took the whole pickleball report to the Measure J Commission just last week, I think it was. And we got some very good preliminary good news for some additional funding to fund the pickleball project. And then that report, in effect, is getting forwarded on and will be on the city council agenda on this Thursday evening. So we're hoping with a staff recommendation to move that project forward. We're hoping to get, so if that project gets approved on Thursday, it'll be just in time before the council goes on a kind of a well-deserved summer recess. And we will be able to get going with all the due diligence that we need for the project. In the meantime, while we're doing our search, you all know Teresa Gallivan sitting to my left. Teresa's our assistant city manager, and Teresa is holding down the fort for another 7 or 8 days, I think. When we met with all the employees, we said no change in anything you're doing. And instead of, if you have any questions, instead of emailing Yvonne or calling Yvonne, you're going to call Teresa, and she obviously has a direct line to me, and we're moving things along as quickly as we could. Now, having said that, we also had plans for a longer term. I knew Teresa wasn't gonna be quite ready to do this for a long period of time. I wonder if Lori Elaine might come forward and sit next to me for a second.
She's always felt.
So want to introduce you to Lori Elaine. I might have Lori just say just a quick word or two in a second, but Lori has been a terrific resource to us as a staff. And in addition to that, she's also on a commission herself. She's a member of the Planning Commission for the city of Palm Springs. But we, about a year ago, when we needed some help in our public works department for a good period of time, because we had a vacancy, we had a person on extended medical leave. We asked Lori to come and take over management of that department. It's a big department. Lori has a long history with Palm Springs. She lives in Palm Springs. She used to be a department director. And at some point in time, she left us and she was a city manager, for the city of Palm Desert. So she just has a wealth of experience. I know she's an avid swimmer. She's a biker. She just does a million things and, puts all the rest of us to shame. And I know a bunch of the staff in the Parks and Rec department also know Lori quite well as also. And so I don't know, we've got the day, is it a week from next Monday or? Anyway, we're gonna.
Depends if the city council approved it on this Thursday, it'll be next Monday.
That's right, so we have an item on the consent agenda to approve Lori's temporary appointment as the director of the department. That'll be on the consent agenda this Thursday. And then I also had to call Kathy Wermuth, the head of the Planning Commission, and beg forgiveness of her for taking Lori away for a few months while we're doing our search. And Kathy very graciously said she was going to allow it one more time and never again. So anyway, so we will have Lori, if all goes well, and helping us run the department. So you're going to see Lori a lot over these next 6 months. She's going to be here for a really critical time. You know how busy we get at the end of the year with our parade season and all the special events going on. And so my task over these next 6 months is going to be single-mindedly focused on finding the new director for the department. So with that, Lori, would you like to just say a word or two?
Never given me a microphone. Yes, I'm excited about this opportunity. I have my fingers crossed that the city council will approve me to fill in. I'm excited in part because I'm a 30-year resident of Palm Springs who has never missed a parade in my time here, who is an avid user of the Parks and Recreation facilities. Scott mentioned the pool. In fact, I originally met Bradley at the pool. And it's I think that the facilities and the programs that we have here are just exemplary, and I'm excited to be a part of it and see what I can do to help. I am hoping to have a little bit of time to meet each of you who I haven't met. There's some familiar faces here. I have served the city of Palm Springs in a couple of capacities, including some community and economic development where I may or may not have known what I was doing. But at least I felt more familiar with Parks and Recreation as from a user perspective. But I'm going to be hoping that each one of you will have the opportunity, or I'll have the opportunity to spend a little bit of time with each one of you. I have spent my last couple of days watching all of the meetings that have been recorded in recent history. And I will say that when I originally served on the Parks and Rec Commission, and this is probably 20 years ago, we dealt with really weighty issues such as, should we spend $250 to fix the fountain in Sunrise Park that wasn't working right? It was a time of austerity. And so seeing the projects that you are working on now and the master plan and the number of programs that are being offered is really exciting, and I'm happy to be a part of it. Yeah.
So thank you, Lori. So we're excited to have her, and we know grass is gonna be growing under anybody's feet. We got a lot on our plates, and we're just gonna keep the momentum going. We're excited. It'll be fun to see the Demuth Play Park open here. You know, we just moved the construction team from one place right to the other, so while we have them here, you don't want to lose that energy and no delays. So we're gonna, keep that going. So again, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just wanted to stop by and just say a few words, bring you up to speed. As always, reach out to me anytime, and happy to be of service.
Careful what you wish for. I'm not sure, Riley, do we need to do the swearing in before anything else? Because technically we wouldn't be.
I've been told it's okay to.
We can do it. You can give us 5 minutes to swear. I have.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, Michael and
And-
John.
yep.
If you wanna take 5 minutes, maybe give us a break for 5 minutes. Sure. It won't take me but 2 minutes across.
Okay, great. Commissioner Finland and I have to be sworn in again, so just give us a minute.
Get both of you to stand and raise your right hand. Repeat after me.
I,
Sometimes we solemnly swear
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
the
And the Constitution of the State of California.
Constitution of the State of California
Against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic, that I bear true faith
that I bear true faith
and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States.
to the Constitution of the United States
And the state of California.
and the Constitution of the State of California.
That I take this obligation freely,
That I take this obligation freely.
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. That I will well and faithfully
That I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of which I am about to enter.
I am.
Here, there, one on the inside.
Right there and this. Oh, there's one there, gotcha.
Because I don't, did you extend that?
I'm just curious.
It was.
Recent. Like keeping the one in the.
Yep.
The same. Oh, have you signed it?
Nope.
Yeah, when you see it, right there.
You know, yeah.
It was 17. So it's like this week, I feel like it's good.
Thank you. All right, I'll do this one. Thank you so much. Thank you. Welcome aboard.
Thanks. Okay, we're official again. Okay. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes from the June meeting? At least everybody who was here. Any changes? No changes, then I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
I guess.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, roll call vote.
Okay. Commissioner Admer,
Approved.
District Coordinator Austin, Commissioner Davis,
Approved.
Commissioner Diaz,
Approved.
Commissioner Finland,
Approved.
Commissioner, Chair Morelia, excuse me,
Approved.
Commissioner Nagaya.
Approved.
So
Minutes approved, right?
minutes approved. Thank you.
Sure. Everyone's favorite time of the meeting. Public comment. This time has been set aside for members of the public to address the Parks and Recreation Commission on agenda items and items of general interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the commission. Although the commission values your comments. Pursuant to the Brown Act, it generally cannot take any action on items not listed on the posted agenda. 3 minutes are assigned for each speaker. Do we have anyone in the audience? I see one hand. Come forward, please, young man.
All right, timer, start. My name is Robert McCann and I'm on the board of Oswald Land Trust, hereafter I'll call it OLT. And we are a local 501(c)(3) nonprofit organization that purchases privately owned land to save it from development. In August 2022, OLT acquired the 120-acre Prescott Preserve and is working to restore this former golf course to a vibrant wildlife preserve featuring several distinct habitats native to the Coachella Valley. One of the benefits of Prescott Preserve is that it will help lighten the city's carbon footprint and assist in the city's goal of becoming a net neutral carbon community by 2030. Since the purchase of Prescott Preserve, it has also become clear that the preserve functions as a valuable resource to the Palm Springs community, offering nature trails, dog walking paths, spectacular views, and multiple opportunities to observe local wildlife. Our restoration plans include enhancing the recreational and educational opportunities that the preserve offers to residents and visitors alike, so that the preserve becomes a focus of collaborative, educational, and community efforts between OLT, the City of Palm Springs, and the community at large. To advance these goals, OLT has developed a proposal we wish to submit to the community-initiated Measure J program. Our proposal includes 3 initiatives. 1, to plant hundreds of native trees, including honey mesquite, palo verde, desert willow, and desert ironwood. The trees will provide important benefits to help combat climate change by sequestering carbon dioxide, create shade for trail walkers, and demonstrate water-efficient landscaping options. 2, create a butterfly pollinator garden that will provide an important resource for migratory monarch butterflies, pollinating species such as bees, hummingbirds, bats, and beetles, along with an enjoyable opportunity for the community to view these species in their natural environment and introduce visitors to the plants they can use on their own properties to attract pollinators. 3, remove an existing structure to create a birdwatching observation pavilion for visitors to sit and enjoy the many bird species that make Prescott Preserve their home. The pavilion would enhance the already strong reputation of Prescott Preserve for bird watching, a highly sought after activity among ecotourists. The initiatives we are proposing would promote many of the goals laid out in the 2016 Palm Springs Sustainability Plan. We therefore ask the Parks and Recreation Commission to place an item on your September 23rd meeting agenda to hear more about our proposal, provide comments and input on it, and consider providing a letter of support for it. I thank you all for your attention to this item.
Thank you. Anybody else out there? No. Anyone via Zoom?
Just a moment.
As many of you know, before I was elected as vice president, before I was elected.
My apologies.
I'm like Kamala Harris is here. Okay.
Wow. She gets around.
Okay. We have no requests via Zoom.
No one via Zoom?
No, sir.
Okay, then that concludes public comment. Thank you. Director's report, which will be given by Teresa Galvin.
Thank you, Chair Moralia and Parks and Recreation Commissioners. Teresa Gallivan, Assistant City Manager. And I'm happy to share with you some of the things that we have been up to since our last commission meeting. First, I'd like to just go over the council agenda items we've had since then. At the June 27th meeting, we gave a Parks and Recreation Master Plan update to the City Council, and during that presentation, our consultants did share that there would be a little more outreach to some specific groups that they thought wanted to get a little more feedback from in the process. We also had an update to the agreement with Kimley Horn, and they are giving a presentation later today on Demuth Park and our pickleball Court project that they have been working on. They're our consultants. The council also approved the mid-year budget update. And we had adjustments in there for Parks and Recreation and Public Works for projects that we are continuing to work on in this new fiscal year. So those were all successfully moved forward. And as mentioned earlier by our city manager Stiles, we are going to council this week with some very important projects. We have the update on the pickleball project. We are actually asking council as staff to approve the conceptual design of the 24 court project and the proposed funding sources for the project, which include, as was mentioned earlier, a $2 million increase from Measure J, which was supported unanimously by the Measure J Commission last week. So we are taking that forward to the city council, as well as asking them for an additional $2.5 million in Quimby funds. So the total project budget that we are requesting is a total of $6 million to do the entire project. Also on the agenda this Thursday is, as Scott mentioned, the appointment of Lori Lynn as our interim director of Parks and Recreation while we go through the recruitment process for the new director. And we also have the acceptance of a grant award from the CPUC, the California Public Utilities Commission, to improve internet access at the James O. Jesse Desert Highland Unity Center. So I'm very pleased that our IT department worked closely with this department of Parks and Recreation to move that forward at JOJ. Some other highlights for the last month, our maintenance and facilities department, spearheaded by our Public Works Director, David McAbee, and his team have been very busy working on parks maintenance. Some of the things they do on a very regular basis include repairs at our restrooms, cleaning off of court surfaces, power washing, picnic areas, playgrounds, the dog park several times a week, tree trimming, trash cleanup, watering trees, and cleaning park barbecues. They also did a special effort on the parking lot maintenance at the library, removing leaves, debris, and dirt, the whole facility, Sunrise Park, which includes, of course, the library there. The dog parks as well, they did additional work with weeding and debris removal. And the repair of drinking fountains, very important, especially as we're in the summer season. They also did some special repair work and had to deploy a boom truck to repair the home plate crowd protection netting at a ballpark, and they rehung downtown street banners, which is part of our projects as well. And those were both damaged due to a recent windstorm. Additional repairs have been done as well to plumbing and Sunrise Park restrooms. The DeMuth Park restrooms were painted. Victoria Park had some irrigation work that needed to be done, and a damaged tree was removed in the Wellness Park. In preparation of our Victoria Park ribbon cutting that we celebrated, we'll talk a little bit more about in a bit. We also did some nice work at painting the restrooms at Victoria Park. And then we installed a new, I cannot see it now. Oh, downtown, was in downtown a new
Doggy.
no, that's at Victoria Park, my bad. The doggy station at Victoria Park as well. And then I see something for downtown. Can you see it?
It says doggies.
Oh, that looks like it was at Victoria.
Yeah, text box.
Okay, well, it is at, the doggy station is at Victoria Park.
Let's just adjust that.
Oh, thank you.
There we go.
That's helpful. Yeah, and
So
the
sorry.
new station.
There we go.
Thank you. All right, we've been busy at the swim center as well. They changed out the main pump at the swim center and installed a new impeller. And they also installed a new acid pump to ensure water bouncing. Also, an 8-inch piping system at the swim center needed repair work, and here's more on the new impeller in the pump. The team also worked on replacing vandalized equipment, lighting, and stolen signs at the DeMuth restrooms. The baby changing stations had to be replaced in downtown park, And they also did some additional painting at Demuth Park, which looks very nice, the bright blue there. So thank you to the Public Works Maintenance and Facilities Department. Parks and Recreation has also been very busy, this department. Oops, sorry, advancing. And as we are all aware, the Victoria Park ribbon cutting was a really big celebration for us all. Congratulations, Commission and staff. We're all very proud of this new playground and the shade structure at Victoria Park. We celebrated the ribbon cutting on July 3rd. It was an especially warm day, a hot day, but we had a really nice attendance and everybody appreciated the shade. And all of the fun activities for the kids, especially the things that involved water. But we had a lot of activities for families in the community and kids. So it was a very fun day to celebrate this great project. Here's a few more photos of the bounce houses and the shade structures. And we had speeches from our commissioners.
Where's the bubble thing?
Oh, the bubble thing.
Didn't you want to get in the bubble thing?
I really wanted to.
But
I
We had to get it. Oh, yeah, yeah. It was over there by the entrance.
We had to move.
No evidence. All right, we also were, of course, very busy with July 4th celebrations and many activities that the Parks and Recreation Department puts on. Pool party during the day, we had that goes into the evening, we have the baseball game, we had the concert in the park, and it all ended with a spectacular fireworks show. So the team was very, very busy celebrating 4th of July, not just on that day, but for several days later throughout the community. It's also camp season. Summer brings about camp season, so we are very busy with our camps. They are also doing some fun excursions, including a Knott's Berry Farm trip and the annual color run. So here you see some of the kids enjoying those experiences. We also have at James O. Jesse Community Center, the drill team and drum squad camp. So that is also happening this summer since we last met. Oops, one too many here. And these are our 4 main camps. Well, there's 5, but the skate camp, the James O. Jesse camp, the Sunrise Park camp, and Camp Chickaroo. So everybody is very busy. And if you go over towards the Leisure Center or any of these locations, you will see kids having fun. So, and we are very busy right now preparing for the annual backpack giveaway. The back to school backpack giveaway will be this Saturday at Demuth Community Center and next Friday at James O. Jesse Community Center. And that ends my report. Thank you, Chairman Raleigh.
Thank you. Do we have an action item coming? Oh, we do. Okay, so we've got a couple of action items that relate specifically to us sitting around this table. And the first is the election of the Parks and Recreation Commission Chair. You guys want to describe how this goes, or I don't really handle this? Okay.
Thank you all. So I'm tasked with actually conducting the nomination in this election process for the chair and the co-chair. We will call for nominations and you'll provide those. Of course, if only one person is nominated, then that person by unanimous consent will be considered your chair. Same for the co-chair, and we will take them in that order. If there's more than one, it will go down as they're presented, and vote if we need to on those. So at this time, nominations are now in order for the office of chair. So are there any nominations for chair?
I'd like to nominate John Raleigh. Thanks.
Any further nominations? Are there any members on Zoom?
No members on.
Seeing none, without objection, nominations are closed. And we will consider by unanimous consent that Mr. John, how you say his name?
Moralia.
Mariah will be considered your chair, will be your chair for Parks and Recreation. And at this time, we'll also do the same. Are there any nominations for vice chair?
I'm sure he still wants to do it, but he's not here to say if he does or not, so I'm not 100% about that.
We
Would you-
nominate him anyway?
We can nominate him anyway, because he doesn't have to be here to accept it. But
I just need someone to nominate him.
I'll nominate
So we're nominating
Vice Chair Caldonado.
Caldonado. Do we have any other nominations for vice chair? Seeing none, we'll again consider the nominations closed. At this time, I'll request a motion to accept John and the vice chair, Mr. Johnny, as your vice chair. If I could get a motion to accept those members as such.
I move to have those accepted.
Can I get a second?
A second. We're
Madam
on
Clerk,
to
can you
that.
please conduct a roll call?
Commissioner Admire,
accept.
Commissioner Ballister,
Accept.
Vice Chair Coladonado absent. Commissioner Davis,
Accept.
Commissioner Diaz,
Accept.
Commissioner Ferguson,
Accept.
Commissioner Fine,
Accept.
Commissioner Finland,
Accept.
Chair Moralia,
Accept.
Commissioner Nakaya,
Accept.
Commissioner Vadi absent.
The selection of your chair and your vice chair are considered final at this time, passed by a majority of this board, so we'll consider those members. Thank you so much, and we appreciate you guys for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Next action item is regarding park playground equipment. Yes. Is anybody presenting something?
Yes. We will be having Bryce Lawrence join us via Zoom. If you give me just a brief moment and get him on the
And he's from Miracle. Yeah.
from Miracle, yes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, we can hear you. Okay, you may take the screen.
Okay, so Ruth Hardy. We did this design you guys have some very large parks, I will say. Obviously, Victoria is currently the largest park you have, and I think Ruth Hardy at this point is on track to beat it if we like this design. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. Oh. Or if you have the design I sent over, if you could pull it up, either one.
I can share, sure. Just give me a brief moment.
So this one, as opposed to the other two where we were trying to keep some of the base design, this one is going to be an all new design. So it won't be keeping the same footprint as the other one. As you can see, we have a 2 to 5 structure on the left here, which is fully ramped and ADA accessible. And then on the right side, we have the 5 to 12 structure, which is also a mega tower structure. So it actually goes up to 6 foot on the lower deck, and then above that is a 12-foot high deck. Per ASTM and ADA, that 12-foot high deck is fully enclosed, so no children can fall from it. So realistically, the highest fall height on this is about 8 feet, which is pretty standard for playgrounds because swing sets are 8 feet. So they kind of bring everything up. Can't see it in this one, but we kept some of the same same elements that we used Victoria and Demuth with some of the ropes. We tried to match the colors. With this one, obviously, we want to include as much shade as possible in Palm Springs. We did a shade at Victoria, which is huge. This one would be even larger. And on this one, what we've done is we've worked with USA Shade, who has actually done all of the other shades for Palm Springs. At Victoria Park, that was a different manufacturer, but this would be USA Shade. And what it would be is it's integrated into the mega tower of the structure. So that way, that's the center focal point, and then it branches out from there with additional posts in order to cover as much of the playground as possible.
Hey, Grace, I'm sorry to interrupt. Do you want to go ahead and share the additional renderings from your screen since you have?
Yeah,
more details?
absolutely.
Oh, give me just a moment. Let me get you on there. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Still disabled here. There we go. Okay, so I will share my whole. I'll start here. So these are a couple renderings. So this was the rendering that was shown in the PowerPoint. I do have full rotational. So as you can see here, this is the 2 to 5 structure. Everything's a little bit low for 2 to 5. We have a piece here that is really great for ADA. There is a ramp right up here to this, which is called the AltaGlide. And so this one features a lot of things for ADA inclusivity. The steps on the outside, kids can actually stand on and hold the bar. And then inside it, you can actually place a wheelchair. We do have a flex option of this one if we'd like to include a second space for a wheelchair. So a wheelchair could go on here, lock the wheels, and then they can be a part of the activity as well. With kids sitting here, standing on the edges. We wanted to keep the whole thing inclusive, so we do have a transfer point here for any of those kids that can transfer. As we continue around, we see some of these mini city items that we have, and these are for the younger kids. This one is called the Chattery. It is meant as a isolation zone without being too isolation. It is for kids who are overly stimulated. They can go here. They're still in the park, they're in the playground, they're around other kids, so they can feel like they're part of it. But it is a little place where they can kind of go and destimulate before they come back onto the main structure if need be. We have continued with the generation swings and the inclusive swings as requested on previous projects to make sure that everybody has the availability of that. This is our cyclocone. So it has a PVC steel base with ropes, and the whole thing spins. It seats about 22 kids on it. And it seems to be one of our biggest hits. It does have a speed governor on it. People do ask that. It does have a speed governor on it. So it goes fast enough for excitement, but not too fast. And then we can see the other side of the 5 to 12 here with the large tube slides. We do have to do tube slides off of this height because, again, it has to be fully enclosed due to fall height issues. We've got the overhead climbers here for upper body strength. And then we've got one of our Pegasus net climbers connected directly to the deck. This thing, again, falls within the 8-foot fall height of swings, even though it does seem a bit taller. The way net works with their honeycomb design, a child can't fall directly through to the ground, so the fall height is only considered 8 feet rather than this height is actually about 10-11 feet here, but it's not meant for someone to be obviously standing on top of that column. That is all my renderings. Do you have any questions or anything you'd like to see?
Has Commissioner Nagaya seen this already? Have you picked any of these things, or have you not been involved?
No, this is my first time seeing it.
The first question I have is, what is the flooring?
So this one would be poured in place just like the other two. So this would be the I think we've been gone with tan and black at Sunrise, Victoria and Demuth will be that as well. We can change the color if need be, but if we're maintaining conformity across all of it, then it would be black and tan, poured in place rubber.
Okay, so the same that we have at Victoria and Duluth. So
Correct.
it's there now, yeah. Correct. Okay. The shade structures look okay to me.
Yeah, we try to cover as much as possible. I think we got just about everything. Obviously, we know, especially right now, we know it gets hot out there, so we want to try to cover as much as we can.
I mean, I like the ADA inclusivity. It seems on par here, so that's good. Do any other commissioners have questions?
No questions. I'm happy with the overall layout. I think it looks great. I'd like to follow our regular process of if this does go through, the color scheme and consistency can come to that park ad hoc and we can make that decision later.
Yes, absolutely. I did try to copy the color scheme from the other two as much as I can. Sometimes it does look a little bit different depending on exactly what components, but if we get further down the line with this, we can always have those discussions where we change specific colors.
Cool, then we need a motion to move this forward.
I'll go ahead and motion.
I'll second it.
Motion approved. Okay, thank you,
Thanks,
Bryce.
No problem at all.
Oh, yes. So the next action item is the Desert Highland Park fencing project. Do you know about this, Sherry?
I didn't know about you.
I do.
I know about this, but you'll know as soon as he starts telling. Is Aaron gonna present this?
Just a
Yes.
brief moment here.
Once he starts talking about it, you'll know exactly what he's talking
Oh,
about.
go around now, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty patience. Okay.
Good evening, everybody, and new commissioners that have met yet. Staff is recommending perimeter fence at Desert Highland. Over time, especially now that we've completed the turf conversion, we have noticed quite a bit of motor vehicle activity in the ball field, and now through the recently completed turf conversion, and so staff is recommending a perimeter fence. As noted in the illustration here, what we are recommending is wrought iron 4-foot green perimeter fence. There's some images here of this was the day after we completed the turf conversion. So basically something similar to this, but 4 foot high, green, not black. Obviously that's open for discussion, but some open walkways as entry points in the park. And then near, if you don't mind going back to the aerial view again. In this northeast corner, adding in a gate there specifically for equipment to be able to enter the field for future maintenance and future work on the ball field. So, any questions?
Like go. So that's going from the outside stage area or behind that? It's behind that, it's going around the perimeter to
Yeah,
that, all
so-
the big pile of rocks and everything there.
Yeah, basically on the west
I'm on the
side
parking
pile
lot
of rocks
side.
right there, yeah, by the parking lot. So that's why we're proposing that we start it, and then there will be breaks at the trees. There's gonna be some areas where it kind of breaks away that we come up against trees, and then also openings. We didn't plan for any gates in this presentation, just keeping some pedestrian openings. So if you're walking to the park from Tramview Road, you can walk on. So the one thing that this will not prevent is motorcycles, but it will prevent larger vehicles from coming through.
Okay, so you're gonna see there's a lot of off-road motorcycles, whatever those all those things, right? They go through the desert and then they come into the park, they'll come through that side and go around. And one concern will be, we just had a big issue with the timing of the desert landscaping, the walking path, which doesn't, I don't see a walking path, but I do see the desert landscape around the edge that you showed. They were doing that, they decided to start that, you know, the same week we were gonna have Juneteenth. That was a big problem, but part of the conversation was folks that have ambulatory problems or walkers, etc., park along Tramview Road so that they can just get up and get into the park there. And I'll steer clear of the conversations that we had, but they're gonna need to be able to access the park. And I know you're saying the fences there. I did hear you say that there would maybe be some gates or something that so the pedestrians can go through there. I don't know, you know, if you're trying to keep the vehicles from not going in that area or across the new landscaping, I'm thinking, obviously, usually there's a city employee attending when we have those big events that could unlock those gates so that people could access, you know, especially our mobile deficient folks so that they could get in there.
We had anticipated not actually having gates, rather just having some openings.
Oh, just leaving it
Yeah,
open,
so
I
having some-
misheard you,
Yeah,
okay.
no worries. So having some openings along the way. I think that we planned for 3, maybe 2 on Tramview and 1 on the east side there, but.
And then, again, I'm just gonna keep going, when we have big events like that in the park and we're hosting things. They go, a lot of times the vehicles that are going to bring in Camel or whatever they're gonna bring in. They use that little side street area where that little side parking lot is up to the right. And they come onto the grass that way. So where will they need to go to get access to that then?
You're talking here, right?
That was,
Yeah, so that's where we're.
that will be a
proposing
big enough
gate.
gate
Yeah.
for any large
You're right.
vehicle,
Absolutely.
okay.
Do you like the idea of no gates though, or would you rather?
Oh,
Cause the opening's gonna be like 8 feet wide, something like that, right?
No, we would anticipate, are you talking about the individual openings for
Yeah.
pedestrians? No, probably 36 inches or
48
Yeah.
more likely.
Okay.
I have a question. Are you concerned? It sounds like you were concerned about any vehicles in this area, so off-road, you know, motorcycles and things like that. It's not gonna keep those out. Isn't that the whole idea? is to keep
Correct.
everything
This
out?
is really
Keep it-
just to mitigate some of the issues. We certainly don't want to not make it accessible, right? We
Right.
want people to enjoy the park. Absolutely. This is just a way to preserve some of the work that is forthcoming. It'll be after the fence goes in, should that be the direction to go.
And
But
it
if you
will-
had gates instead of opening spaces, it would be a little more difficult for someone to just ride in. They'd have to stop, open the gate.
Yeah.
Right, but then they'd have to have a person available to open the gate all the time.
Certainly, our intent was
because
not
they're
to
locked?
restrict access.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought.
they'll drive through the parking lot and go up by the basketball court, and go
So you're
around.
trying to mitigate it, not.
It's to act as a deterrent,
Right,
you know, because as I've noticed specifically since we finished the turf conversion, every point is an access point for a motorcycle
Well, this
or
is the-
vehicle, yeah.
And I know they've been patiently awaiting their exercise equipment that they had chosen, and we were waiting for that to come. We're still, I don't know if there's any updates on that. This is probably the end of the discussion thing, but those stations potentially would go in some of the locations. But it won't affect it. I guess you would put it in where the new landscaping is perhaps, so.
Yeah, the proposed fence would be at the very, as close to
The
the
very
perimeter as
edge.
possible. I think that it would be somewhere within 18 to 24 inches from the perimeter, just based on the size of the footings that we would need for the posts.
Guys not tired of me yet?
No.
It's okay.
I would really like to, I don't know if we're saying we're gonna approve this or make a motion on it now, but I would really like to get some input from from the residents in that area. Before I say that I would like to have that done, but I don't know if that's up to us or not.
I have another question. Are there any ordinances that are listed saying, please keep off the grass or no vehicles allowed or no, I mean, is there anything like that?
Yes, there is signage in all the parks. Unfortunately, that's just not a deterrent in this case. But absolutely, we are seeking direction, and if the commission wants to send it to an ad hoc or whatever the case may be, we're certainly happy to do that. We just want to start the conversation because this needs to happen before other projects that are slated to happen, to your point, even exercise equipment.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna add is I know that this needs to happen first before we start to work on putting the workout equipment out there because we want to preserve it in the event that, you know, vehicles drive in there as well. I'm okay with it coming to the ad hoc, but I just do want to make sure, I agree that we should make sure that they are well aware as well, but I don't want to slow it down because I do want to get started on our other projects as well. So it's gonna be a balance, but I'm okay with it coming to the ad hoc and we can work on it and see if we can continue to push it through.
Can we do like a little presentation at JOJ and say, this is what we're proposing? Here's what the fencing's gonna look like. The exercise equipment will go here, blah, blah, blah. Can we do that? Or what makes you guys more comfortable? Cause I'm with you, that community input needs to happen here.
You know, I think that we could reach out to the Desert Highland Gateway Community Association and speak with them and get some input from them.
Yeah.
I just have one last question. Do you think they're gonna think of it as a beautifying kind of a concept, like how nice or good fences, or look a green fence, or are they gonna look at it as like keep out?
That's why we need to ask them.
And that's why we're asking the question.
Correct, yes.
Absolutely.
Because it could be very, very pleasing to the eye if it's done really nice, and they might think, oh, this is gonna beautify our areas.
And I do know that element was considered because we're not using chain link, so I do appreciate you incorporating that and that's a great point.
The height of the fence is a consideration too,
Mhm.
so it doesn't feel like a very tall, sort of closed in fence. Everything feels very open, just acts as a deterrent from motor vehicle use.
Okay.
So are we saying we're okay moving it forward as long as you guys speak to Desert Island?
I'm okay with saying we can get back to you as soon as we get input. I don't wanna say we're moving anything forward until we give them an opportunity in that community to speak on it.
Great.
So maybe a motion to direct it to the ad hoc for further discussion.
I'll make a motion to direct it to the ad hoc.
I'll second it.
Okay. Motion to direct to the ad hoc for further discussion. Thank you, Chair Morelia. We have a second.
I think
That's fine. Thank you. Okay. Commissioner Admeyer? I'm sorry, motion approved. Moving on.
That was unanimous.
Oh, okay, I apologize. Commissioner Admeyer,
Agreed.
Commissioner Ballister,
Agreed.
Commissioner Coladonato absent, Commissioner Davis,
Agreed.
Commissioner Diaz,
Agreed.
Commissioner Ferguson,
Agreed.
Commissioner Fine,
Agreed.
Commissioner Finland,
Agreed.
Chair Morelia,
Agreed.
Commissioner Nakaya,
Agreed.
Commissioner Roddy absent. Unanimously approved. Okay.
Let's keep talking about fences. Are you guys also doing the Bristow Park fence?
Yes, yeah, I'll talk fences all day long. So this fence that we are proposing is inboard of what you're seeing here. So what you're seeing here is the Riverside County, it's a wash.
That little wash,
Yeah, and so this is not maintained by the city of Palm Springs, and what we're
Northern
proposing.
County of Riverside.
what we're proposing is to build a fence. It would be roughly 18 inches inside of the park here. And what we're presenting is something a bit more, straightforward, with slats. So, aesthetically kind of just hides everything that's going on the Riverside County side. This one we are asking for an approval to move forward because we would like to get this done before the playground equipment is installed at Bristow. And the length of this fence would be from the east side of the park to the west side entry, still leaving an opening at the west side entry of the park, because there is access through that side of the park.
So in this case, we already had the Bristow Park neighborhood organization come, they want this fence. So I don't know if other commissioners have questions or not, but
I make a motion to approve that fencing get installed in the Bristow Park.
Second.
Commissioner Admire,
Agreed.
Commissioner Ballister,
Agreed.
Vice Chair Coronado, absent, Commissioner Davis,
Agreed.
Commissioner Diaz,
Agreed.
Commissioner Ferguson,
Agreed.
Commissioner Fine,
Agreed.
Commissioner Finland,
Agreed.
Chair Moralia,
agreed.
Commissioner Nagaya,
Agreed.
Commissioner Rodden, absent. Unanimously approved.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yay, time for a fun presentation. Who are you two? I've never seen-
A little suspicious.
Yeah. No, thank you.
All right. Thank you, commissioners, for having us back. We've got some exciting updates on Demuth Park, all things Demuth Park, not just pickleball, but we will start with pickleball. Do you happen to have the presentation?
Yes.
You got it, right?
Yep, it's right.
Okay. All right. So we'll go through these couple of segments of the park and try to focus in on each one and give you a quick update as we go along. All right, so first focusing on pickleball. Thank you, Teresa, for sharing the exciting news of the Measure J meeting we had last week. We had unanimous approval of the 2 million, and we're going to be taking some feedback that we received from them, incorporating that into the design. We had a great discussion. And then this Thursday, we're going to be going to City Council to ask for the 2.5 million additional funds from the Quimby Fund. So we're excited to work with them. Also wanted to share, I don't know that I heard it mentioned that the Palm Springs Hospitality Association put out their support of the project last week, right before the Measure J Commission. So that was also a really nice thing to add to the discussion. So you all have seen the concept that's on your screen. Just wanted to show you a little progress as we are diving into the concept. We're trying to work out some of the details. And of course, that involves trying to fine tune and find cost savings where we can. So if I can direct your eye to the shade structures here, which you see is sort of the blue and yellow, and then you'll see there's an orange dot or a bunch of orange dots around the perimeter. Those represent the proposed light poles. All right, so let's look. So if we go to this version of the concept, it's a little bit updated. We met with our lighting rep first to say, how can we reduce cost? And I think it came down to most simply by reducing some of the structural reinforcement that will be required for poles. So let's reduce some poles. So we're looking to reduce light poles where we can and to double up some of the fixtures and use them multi-purpose for the courts, for security lighting, for AV equipment, things like that. So we're working with Parson, the ad hoc experts. We'll be talking to them about some of the things that they want to see there. We've been talking with city staff on some of the lighting options. And so we're excited to see that this is advancing. Also want to draw your eye to the shade structures. So if we go back, you can see there are kind of little postage stamps down the corridor. That was a great idea at first. Let's stay clear. Let's not create obstacles. But actually, when we took a look at the pricing of them and the reinforcement required, it was a big ticket item for not that much impact. So we dusted things off again and we sat down with USA Shade and looked at a bunch of different options and looked at some that are pretty standard off the shelf, but can accomplish the aesthetic goals and really provide a lot more shading and a lot less disruption down the center of these corridors. So we're looking at reducing the overall quantity, having potentially more shade and less structural requirements and less structural obstructions. So we continue to dig into that. Okay, it's still a big number for shade. So we want to make sure that the city is going to be getting something that they're proud of, that, you know, once you pay and install these shade structures, you're going to have some shade. So I wanted to show you a sample of a shade study that we've done, looking at the shade structures that we're proposing. And this one is a snapshot of the study that was done in September. We know that that's going to be sort of around that September, October, when prime playing time is going to pick up. And keep in mind that what you're seeing on the screen that's sort of grayed out, that represents not only the shade from the structures above, but the shade from the windscreens and the fencing, and all the different light poles, trees and things like that. So it's kind of a combination of everything. But wanted to make you all aware of, you know, how this might look once it's installed.
Michael, on the shading.
Yeah.
Before you continue on.
Absolutely.
The previous slide. Are those permanent fixtures or are they able to be, are they mobile? Can they be taken down and moved?
So good question. So these are more permanent fixtures with a pole in each of the four corners. I know that we were just looking at a playground project that sort of had the shade
Just say, do you have the
sails.
3D thing so we could like see it?
We do, but not in this presentation, but I
you
can,
find
I don't have that with me today, but I can certainly.
It costs too much?
No,
Alright.
we've got, but we've got something we can show you how that looks. But we don't have the shade sail set up, if that's what you're asking. Is it the shade sails like on the playground versus this?
Primarily, I was kind of focused on what we've been calling the tournament court.
Uh-huh.
Because if those are permanent structures, would there be or might there be limitations on what we can do seating wise? So I know that in the ad hoc conversations and even in other comments that I've heard, that has been viewed as, you know, a nice element that we can not just allow for adaptive play, but also if we were hosting events, that would give us the ability for some seating. And so that layout might restrict that. So just, that's the basis of the question.
And no, I'm glad you drew me into that specific area because I did not mention it. I apologize for not. But then that's the only area where we have a cantilevered system. So if you think about the shade structures that are out there, for those of you that are familiar with it, there's a cantilever system where there's basically a large footing and that shade structure hangs out over. So that is extremely expensive because of that large footing. So we were looking at footings in the original design across the board. So when we talked to our rep, we said we really would like to have those in the back because again, that will be an unobstructed view down to the players. So that is the area we see of the most, like the higher dollar investment into the shade structure, just for that purpose, to make it so that it's easier to view, that there's not an obstruction. Did that answer the question? Okay. All right. Before I go to the next slide, we're going to be diving into dog parks. Any pickleball?
And where would the seating be? Under those outside ones?
Correct. I don't know if there's a pointer, but
I think what we have to do is bring in bleachers.
And put them under those.
Possibly underneath it, could be on the
Yeah.
side, and talked about this plaza being some flexible.
And
space
along
for
that side,
Here,
up. Across the top, around, near the parking lot up that way?
Here you're saying?
Mm-hmm,
I don't know, that probably wouldn't work.
okay.
so right now what we're talking about is there'd be some stadium seating underneath these structures for the tournament court.
That would be brought in there, correct?
Correct. Correct. So, and then there's gonna be some more casual seating, some benches, maybe some
Benches,
very.
okay.
Okay,
It's possible though that some of the bench options we're looking at are sort of a lower stadium seating sort of thing, so it's like tiered so that you could. Somebody could share it and be watching both sides as
Okay.
a spectator.
Mm.
There's also discussion in this area as we're looking at really how to integrate. All the different utilities and amenities around the court. And we're looking at, this is a really large area of pavement. We don't know that it's going to be used all that much once we introduce these corridors. So we see that there's also an opportunity to shrink down this pavement, perhaps reduce the number of shade structures, add some more trees out there. So that could potentially be a cost savings, and add more green space, but also have, seating along there. But am I hitting on your question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael, one
Okay.
thing,
Yeah.
as we get into the details, I think this came up on the Measure J call about noise.
Yes.
And if, there's a product, acoustic fence, acoustic block. Those are not see-through, the ones I've
Right.
seen in person are not, so if that product is used to help with noise mitigation. You wouldn't be able to see from the baseline or on the outside of the court, you wouldn't be able to see through that onto the court, it just.
Yeah, that is one reason I was trying to shy away from getting into the acoustic fence, because we talked about it back in the community outreach phase. And it does have that challenge that it doesn't allow that transparency, so. But we're gonna continue looking into options for dealing with acoustics.
Yeah, it's worth looking into.
Yeah.
Have we done like a noise study? I mean, I've been there when every court is full and if I'm standing here.
So
I know that we got a complaint from somebody who lives there.
right.
I went over one morning and measured on my own.
Yeah.
I've actually commissioned a noise study on a different project. And what the experts will tell you is, trees and things like that, if you can pour water through it, it's not gonna mitigate noise. So that's where the acoustic fence comes into play.
Yeah.
The biggest deterrent on noise is distance. And so when I looked on a Google map and kind of measured from the court into the neighborhood,
Yeah.
it's a pretty sufficient distance, so that helps. There's also existing ambient noise, which is the traffic on, I always forget that's Mesquite or Sunny Dunes. But yeah, so that noise, that traffic also helps with that. So when I measured noise that morning, it wasn't really any different standing at the court versus standing across the street because of the noise traffic. So I don't think that noise is an issue, but I certainly wouldn't want, I would want others to.
You're on the record now. You're being.
I was actually sensitive to even raise that, but I think, and the noise study that I did for another project was a couple $1,000, took a few weeks. It's a group out of Pennsylvania. If you've read anything about this, they're the experts. It might be helpful to have that just
Sure.
for community background and support.
But as far as I know, we've only had the one complaint, right?
That's what I'm aware of.
There was one that I heard at the community
Yeah.
meeting. But yeah, I definitely think, based on the feedback we had last week and this discussion and that feedback we got from that resident. It's definitely something we need to keep on our radar as we continue to get it, dive into the design deeper. Any other thoughts on pickleball before I jump?
The only other thing, as we get into
Yeah.
spectators, sorry, because Judd made a really good point about, visibility on the north end is the shade structure in between the courts in that quarter that goes east to west and then also north to south. When it gets at the right time, we may think about, would that help accommodate, spectators? So if I was coming out to watch Jody in the tournament, could I,
Yeah,
sort of
just
be
sit
in
in the
this
center
area to
there,
watch her here or even in this court or the other way? And so
Yeah.
I was at an event a few weeks ago and at Lifetime Fitness over in San Clemente, and that's kind of what they had. The courts weren't as long, east to west as they are here. But that would be common for folks to be able to stand like that and watch a court or two just in a common area, so.
Okay. No, that's a great point. Okay, something to consider. Anything else on pickleball?
You have to do it very inexpensively, though.
Okay, no problem. Frank's, that's why Frank's here. All right, let's see. Speaking of pricing, I wanted to jump into the dog park. And so large and small dog parks, we have been looking at the details and getting into pricing. So I wanted to share where we're at with pricing on both of these. All right, so large dog park, for those of you, I'll do a quick refresher, but I think most of you are pretty familiar with this. So we're looking at a large turf space. We're looking at some potential alternate treatment for the ground plane outside of a walkway that goes all the way around the space, probably DG with some landscaping, lots of trees. We heard a lot, of course, about shade, some shade structures, some seating. And you'll notice that there's an updated parking lot there that's right by the CV link to provide some ADA access. And then we've also accommodated some maintenance routes and things like that for ongoing access that's going to be required because of some of the things that are already existing. So when we look at this, the large dog park comes out to about 2.2. And that's, to kind of help you all digest this information, very similar to pickleball. We broke it up into different buckets, looking at landscape, site improvements, shade structures, site prep, lighting, and aiming for around a 10% contingency. Any initial reactions, concerns, thoughts? Not, I can dive into the small dog park so you can kind of see how they compare.
Oh, so this does include the amenities we spoke about too, right? Yes. I see that.
The amenities, which ones are you thinking of?
Poop stations.
Yes, yes.
Fountain.
Yeah, this is all
of
in.
that stuff.
This is all in. It includes that, parking lot improvement and everything. So then when we go to the smaller dog park, we've also got a couple of shade structures. We've got some berming, we've got turf, we've got the pathway all the way around, lots of trees, pedestrian lighting, things like that. That is one thing I didn't mention. And the other one is we're making sure that we've got some pedestrian light poles throughout the space because we've also heard from the community that lighting is going to be an important thing. So this one comes in about just under $1 million here, the small dog park. Same breakup and same buckets, and I think hopefully we are going to be able to share some of the different amenities in the different spaces and work with these vendors and reps to find areas to save cost where possible. Yeah.
2 questions. One is the way these are designed. Any idea about sort of ongoing maintenance costs? Like, is it more, substantially more than maybe what it takes to service the dog parks now? And then the second related to that is sort of the longevity or lifespan of these materials, the equipment, things like that. Just out of curiosity, I don't know much about dog parks or how long they last.
No, those are great questions. I mean, I would say, to take a stab at an answer, really the difference in maintenance from now to the future, it's definitely going to be greater because there's going to be more amenities there, like the light poles, like the sidewalks. Because right now, from what I understand, it's basically picking up some debris, collecting the trash, and that's pretty much it. So it's going to be, an extra park space really to be maintained. I think in terms of the maintenance for the different materials, a lot of the materials and the vendors that we're speaking with, we are speaking specifically with, this being a dog park in mind, especially thinking about benches and seating because we don't want to have the slats or the things for dog paws to get into. And there's a lot of, let me show you a product. So what we're trying to do right now is we're pulling together the products and things that we'd recommend. And then we'd really like to get back together with the ad hoc and share this back out and make sure that, you all are comfortable with what you're seeing. And also have that information about warranty and how things should be lasting, maintenance requirements and things like that.
And maybe that's standard operating procedure within the parks. I'm just not familiar with it. Teresa, this item might be best for you, just kind of given where the staffing is at this point. This also came up on the Measure J call last week regarding pickleball, which is, given the, the increase in courts and blah, 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 does that change park staffing? Is there, things like that? And so again, in that same spirit of not just maintenance impact, but staff impact, do we need somebody to manage courts? I don't know if these require other things. So just mentioning that as we get into costs and things like that from a staffing perspectives.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Davis. That's a good point. And we definitely will be looking in the next budget as things come online, the needs that we have for maintenance and programming of these improved spaces and added spaces.
Thank you. All right, so unless there's any other dog park questions, yeah.
I'm just kind of curious, what is the comparison, the size of these two parks compared to the ones right around the corner? I'm just kind of curious, because I use those frequently, the dog parks over
By
City Hall.
right here.
Yeah, they look very large.
They are definitely bigger. I can't remember the number off the top of my head. I did have that figure.
Actually,
I can get that to you though.
I was just curious in general, is it twice the size of the parks that we have over here, or are they comparable?
I don't think it's twice, but the large dog park is probably 1.5 times larger than City Hall. The small dog park, and I'm talking all of City Hall, not just the large and just the small, the whole is about 1.5 times smaller than the large in Duluth. The small in Duluth is a little bit bigger than the small area in City Hall. I mean, the goal is really that it takes some of the traffic from City Hall and brings it here, which would solve a ton of problems.
Yeah. City Hall's too crowded right now.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's why when people say to me, Rancho Mirage's dog park is so nice. Yeah, there's 6 dogs in it. There's 400 in ours.
Yeah. All right, I'll definitely get those exact numbers to you. Any other questions related to dog park?
I can't wait to show it to the dog park community.
All right. So moving on to some new topics, some things that are pretty exciting. This, believe it or not, is the parking lot right outside of Demuth Community Center. The big dust bowl. So I'll turn it over to Frank to take it away from here.
Yeah. So starting here with the parking lot at the community center, most of you are probably familiar with the location. And what you see on the left side, that's basically the existing condition, existing parking lot. And so the plan for this extension of the parking lot is basically the unpaved area, what's sand, have set up parking. So we're looking right now at roughly 115 parking spaces. And the approach that we're taking is for shade, to have trees instead of shade structure. Often what you see parking lots, there's the ordinance, you have to have shade for additional parking. You could have solar structures or things like this, but I think at least from our perspective, trees is something that fits better in a parking lot. And I would say at this point, with all the planting, it's probably for a few people a little bit challenging to find beauty in a parking lot, but with, other than if you're a roadway engineer like me, but I think with the landscaping, adding all the trees, that would be not only practical, that would also enhance the area and would fit in the park. So that's a quick update on this. We're working now, we worked with the city staff, kind of on design review. So the initial design review phase, we have finalize this and working now into more of the detailed design. Some of the additional elements now is adding drainage, what's a little bit of a challenge in this area, so, but moving forward with this concept.
So we're gaining how many parking spots?
150.
Additional to what we have, okay.
So that little square, that's that building, and then those are the ball fields there?
Correct.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
there's field 7 and 8.
Where's the community center? I can't read that.
Community center is actually not really shown on the
Okay,
drawing.
gotcha.
We're focused on the parking lot. It's.
That's fine. I was trying to, in my mind, like,
To the-
when I pull in, that's
To the
where
left.
I'm going.
But
Okay.
But now that you bring in the community center, there's one feature that I kind of want to mention, what we're adding, what's not there today. There is no ADA pathway from the ball fields. And the ADA parking area that's at the ball fields to the community center.
Okay.
So we are adding an ADA compliant walkway. Yeah, on the backside, on the backside. And this is a little bit older version. They made some updates to it. But one of the elements that is required, I'm not sure how familiar you are, there is a garbage disposal area, and that has to be removed and will be a disposal area. And also the disposal area where the garbage cans are for the concession stands, that also has to be removed.
Okay.
So we worked through a couple of iterations, but we found out that in the drawing in the upper right corner, that's not green. That's where the dumpsters are.
Yeah.
So
Next slide.
Next slide. This is the area that we're working on right now. We're actually calling that have a little nickname for it. We call it Lake de Moose.
So that's not a lie, so.
It's true. And so we're working on, oh, sorry, got my parking lots mixed up. I was wondering, that didn't look like. This is on the basically opposite side of the large dog park. There is the parking lot right now, and we're adding a new restroom facility in this area. So, and what you see basically on top of the drawing will be the standard restroom facilities that the city is using now in all parks. One minor revision, there has been a change to building code. And so based on the building code revisions, we working with the architect right now on making some revisions to make it compliant with the building code. I don't expect that will be major, but just the drawings need to be updated. So that's basically then a restroom facility that would be also accessible from the large dog park. You have to cross the street, but it's basically roughly where you see the hatched area in the drawing. That's opposite the parking lot of the large dog park. So people have to cross the street and cross the parking lot, but I think that's reasonable for an access to the restrooms. So then the restrooms are obviously available for all the park activities, but then it's also something close to the dog park. So now we can move on to Lake de Moose. So with the parking lot that has the flooding problem, is also pavement condition are very bad. So this is now due to some major maintenance, and as we are replacing then the asphalt, there will be also some regrading to help with the flooding issue. But actually the major flooding issue is not necessarily only triggered by the design of the parking lot right now. It's one of the factors. There is not enough slope in the pavement, in the drainage facility, so we're improving this. But then there's also right now an issue that it basically dumps into a big basin that has dry wells, but the dry wells are not working anymore. There is not sufficient area to drain to, or originally the idea was that there would be a big storm drain that will be somewhere in the future. So overall, we'll address those issues to help with the flooding in the parking area. So I think no questions, can move on to the next slide. We have. So that was just also one, obviously this time of year extremely important. There are all the drink fountains in the park, and none of those fountains are ADA compliant. So we're looking at updating them. The drink fountains to be ADA compliant, and then there's also right now with the location of the fountains and the setup with the turf and the irrigation, there's some issues with overspray. And actually this week we'll meet with city staff on site and walk the locations and look at solutions to address the overspray for those areas, and then also ADA access and the areas, how they need to be improved, because it's not only putting a drink fountain there that has the amenities to be ADA access, basically bench that you can roll underneath, or the setup. You also have to get there. So it's
Might be able to get to it.
yeah, so I think that was the major components.
Yeah, key I was just gonna mention is the overspray for irrigation is a real concern because the park's being irrigated with reclaimed water, so that's hitting the water fountain. So Frank has.
I also created a term for that. Seems like my job on the project to create the terms. We call it purple rain. Any Prince fans around?
That's our update for tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
You, yeah. I don't know which one of you guys are doing the updates.
That last slide. Yes. Good evening, commissioners. So this update here that you're seeing is on the stadium lighting upgrades that we did to the Demuth ball fields and Palm Springs Stadium. Just giving you an update on that project. That project is about 90% complete. The lights are up and working, everything's great. Really positive reviews on that. And we just got some punch list items to walk. Part of this project for the new commissioners was that we include one of the soccer fields on the east end of that of the project, which you won't see on these slides because it was an added on item. Those are under construction now, so they're running the conduit. We're looking to probably have those 4 light poles installed, delivered and installed within the next 2 months. So, and then about a month after that, which would push us to September, October, on the upgrades to the equipment. So new equipment's getting delivered for those 4 poles. So we had to order new equipment just for those additional 4 poles. So
And that stuff should be done before soccer season starts.
Yeah, that's
Pretty
the
good.
goal.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, awesome.
so that's just the update. That's what you're seeing here is the stadium lighting upgrades.
It just looks like dead grass.
Yeah, sorry.
Just kidding.
That's an old Google view. But, thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm not sure if we got anything on the presentation here, but I can give some off the cuff updates. So we've got Demuth Playground, which is in construction. And we're still on course to complete that at the end of August.
Oh, good.
So we are moving rapidly on that. We're working with Miracle to put together a schedule for Baristo, and now that we have approval to move forward on the fence, we'll get started on that as well to get it done ahead of that. And then another one I'm actually working on with Alberto here is the restroom at Victoria. So as a part of the code updates that were mentioned, once we get through that, then we will move forward with demolishing the existing, bringing in the new restroom. See if there's anything else on the list.
Very good.
And then another one that's not on the list here is actually at the baseball stadium, we are replacing the bleachers behind the third baseline with ADA accessible bleachers there, and taking care of some of the trip hazards that are throughout that area with the asphalt near the Birch Booth and concession stand. So that is moving forward and will be complete before the next baseball season. The turf conversions at Baristo, Desert Highland, and Victoria are complete. However, we are working through some corrections with the contractor, so there's some warranty work happening there. And the Leisure Center Dance Studio flooring that's scheduled to be completed mid-August. That'll take about a couple of weeks, so that dance studio floor would be shut down during that time. I believe those are all the updates I have for you. Reclaimed water design for Sunrise Park in process. We are getting close to 60% design set on that.
Thank you. Thank you, Alberto.
Okay.
So since we have new commissioners, we want to see if everybody is on the right ad hoc and who wants to join other ad hocs. These are our 5. We try to not have more than 3 commissioners per ad hoc. Because we don't want to be violating the ground. So currently, we need a person for swim center, we need a person for master plan. We usually like one commissioner to sort of be the lead, if you will. So I'm assuming Joni will want to stay on dog park with me. Does anybody, what I would suggest for the new commissioners is pick an ad hoc that speaks to you. That's gonna be fun for you, that you. I don't wanna say care about more, because you should care about all of them, but something that's gonna resonate a little bit more with you.
Can you tell me a little bit what the park enhancements are? Is that like just fixing up
That's
things?
everything that's in the park, so that could be a playground, that could be art, that could be pretty much anything. We already have 3 people on that though.
Okay, that's fine.
Unless somebody doesn't want to be on.
Other things speak to me too. I think other things speak to me. Is
There's
pickleball
really
that-
no reason for me to be on that one. I don't think maybe had mentioned this last year. So
If you want to be off it, and
yeah, I'm
sure fine.
The swim center is fine. I mean,
Are you keeping track of it?
Yes. Okay, park enhancements.
I'd like to be on the dog park ad hoc.
You want to join dog park?
Yeah.
Club?
Yeah.
All right, bring it on.
It's your dog park, perfect.
It barks to me, so.
It barks to you.
Me too, I have 2 dogs, so. So we need somebody to join Commissioner Admire on the swim center. Come on, the swim center is a ton of fun.
Right.
Can we just assign it to Charlie?
By default.
Motion.
Sure. We can talk to Charlie about that, sure.
Nobody wants to be on the swim center with Commissioner Adler? I mean, I'll do it.
Okay.
I try to not join a ton of the ad hocs, but that's an important one, so you can put my name there.
Okay, and then maybe if he expresses interest.
Yeah,
Later, we
exactly.
can make that change, sure.
And then master plan is just you so far, Rod, right?
Yeah, because
Commissioner Davis, sorry.
Because Commissioner Myers turned in.
Correct.
I'll take the master plan.
There we go. Pickleball, I assume you two want to stay on because you love that community and they love you. Yes?
Yes.
Does anybody else want to join pickleball or we're good with pickleball?
What's entailed? I'm just curious, like to it. when we
Did
join.
you not just see that giant plan?
No, I know, but what is it like weekly meetings with it, like? just-
No, you guys meet with them what? Maybe once a month?
I mean, I would I'd be happy to do that as well, like. But, you know.
Do you guys want additional help? All right, there you go.
Pickleball,
Uh-huh.
okay,
with
Commissioner
pickleball.
Fine. Perfect.
So I'll do pickleball and advance. Sounds like a.
So will you send us like that,
sidebar.
Yes,
you know,
I will
the
update it.
contact list with what ad hocs we're on and all that stuff?
Yes, I will.
And so
update
when
the
there's
list and
meetings
send
for
it
ad
to you.
hocs, they just call you and say, we're meeting. this
It'll
time."
just be you three.
Oh, okay, yeah. Gotcha.
Okay.
So we're good on
The-
ad hoc, sorry.
Yeah, so just to be clear, we have Dog Park with Vice Chair Coladinata, Chair Morelia, and Commissioner Ballister. Swim Center, we have Commissioner Admire and Chair Morelia. Master Plan, we have Commissioner Davis and Commissioner Ferguson. Pickleball, Commissioner Davis, Commissioner Finland, and Commissioner Fine. And Park Enhancements, we have Commissioner Diaz, Commissioner Nagaya, Commissioner Fine, and Commissioner Admire. You will be. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Set. Awesome.
We kind of covered that, right? Or are there?
Yeah, no, we definitely got it. Unless anybody from one of the ad hocs has anything to report on.
Yeah, so now we're just.
Nothing.
I know Dog Park has nothing to report on.
Okay.
Just
On the
master
swim
plan.
center, they were talking about they were gonna bring up the operations side. But I haven't heard anything on it, so I didn't know if that was still an ongoing situation or not.
So the operational side of the swim center, there were some updates. Do you wanna give a little insight?
The way I understood it was as far as the time, the opening and closing and various things like that, and
Mhm.
my understanding where they were gonna bring it to the ad hoc to, I guess, further explore that somewhat.
We can follow up on that and
Yeah.
get with the ad hoc. Thank you.
Cause they wanna change the hours or what's the,
It-
we've expanded the hours already.
Yeah, that it came from Yvonne. I wasn't aware of it, other than that, she just brought it up the last meeting.
And another item, I think that maybe was part of that discussion, may have also been to some other policies that we were
Right,
looking to.
right,
implement. Thank you.
Any update for master plan?
Sure, a couple of quick notes. Since June, there've been 6 additional public outreach forums, ranging from one at a school, a community meeting, one at the basketball league, swimming event. As Teresa indicated, it sounds like KBI or the one entity is still looking to get additional input from the Latino community is what I was communicated with, so they may be looking to try to get some more input. So that's number one. Number two, the surveys from or the results from the surveys are being tabulated. They did have a minimum number that they had hoped to reach and they had exceeded that, so that was encouraging. We've not seen anything back on that. And then what's next, 2 things, an action plan is being created for review. The timetable for that is August, September. And then from there, the final plan document will be produced for September, October. When I back in June 26th at the community meeting, I shared with Shalina that we'd like to have some visibility and insight into that, as opposed to being presented and ideally some discussion around views and perceptions and a chance to participate in that, so we all have, had that opportunity before it gets made public, so, we'll check with her and, Nancy, I'll communicate with you and we can each make sure you're up to speed on things as well.
Cool, thanks. Park enhancements? Got anything?
No, nothing to add. It was covered with project updates.
Cool, yeah. Pickleball?
Yes.
Oh.
We had a very positive meeting last week with Mr. J. We'll be having a presentation this coming Thursday, as was noted earlier at this meeting, before the city council. And then after that, as long as we have positive reception there, the project will hopefully move forward with a tentative projection of completion by November of 2025. And I just want to say thank you very much to Teresa for your presentation and for your input at Measure J. I'm very grateful for that. And we're just confidently moving forward with the project.
And the group seems happy, the community itself?
The group is very happy.
Okay, good. We already covered swim center, so that's it for ad hoc.
How long will it be down? Completely, to shut the whole thing down.
No, don't even say that out loud.
We'll do it in sections. I mean, I'm just curious. We'll do it in sections, so people, some of it.
Yeah. And like, talk about it offline.
Got it.
Right. It is time for commissioner comments. If you have anything to say, please feel free to speak up.
Sure, just wanted to extend a warm welcome to our new commissioners. Happy to have you here and looking forward to working with you. I also wanted to wish our former director Weiss well in her journey, her next chapter, and to thank her for her 2 years of service to us. And you know, I think we're a better department and commission because of her. So thank you. And that's all.
Thanks.
I just want to say I was really excited to be chosen for this. And I didn't really know what to expect after today's meeting. And I think it's a really exciting time to be in this Parks and Recreation Commission. I love the city of Palm Springs. I ridiculously love it here. And I'm excited for all the things that we're going to be doing to make it even better.
Cool. Good.
I noticed it went up, but it wasn't spoken on. Can somebody, can you give me an update about that JOG exercise equipment? Anybody? Please.
So the exercise equipment is being prepared, but again, to our earlier conversation, we have to deal with the fence before we can really move forward with that. Otherwise, we'll wind up getting the equipment and we won't have any place to put it.
Okay, so my question is, the exercise equipment, we have it, it's here.
No, we
even.
do not.
We do not, has not come yet.
Again, we don't want to move forward with that because we need to put the other piece in place first. That's the
Well, we were
intention
under
right
the
now.
impression that it had been ordered. Okay,
It's not correct.
okay, thank you for clarifying that,
Very, very well.
but it will be, the money's still there to order it.
Absolutely.
We just gotta take care of all the other issues.
Absolutely.
There was something else I had, maybe it'll come back to me. I did wanna say, I don't know who's responsible, it's the city, obviously. The fireworks show for the 4th of July was the best, and I go to the Power Game every year. The most phenomenal fireworks show. I don't know who's in charge of planning and setting up all and doing all of it, but it was really fantastic. So I just wanted to say that.
I would have to echo that. I'm not even a fireworks guy. And I just happened to be home and I started to hear them go off. And from my front patio, I was in awe. It was really amazing. And I actually sent Yvonne an email the next day or text message saying whoever's responsible for that should really get some major kudos. It was pretty spectacular. So
I don't know what company we used. I knew everybody was pissed off with the laser light show, so thank God we had real fireworks. Anybody else? I also want to welcome our new commissioners. I hope that you all enjoy being on the commission. We had talked about doing a type of mentor program. So if any one of you want to partner up with an existing commissioner, just let us know. I know there are a couple of commissioners who would be open to that. So if that's something you're into, like I said, just let us know. And I would also like to thank former Director Wise for her 2 years of service to us. We got a lot done this last year, so we have big shoes to fill for this year. But I think we can do it. Yeah, go ahead.
This isn't the first time I've been on the Parks and Recreation Commission. The first time I was on for a few years, we met at the pavilion at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Nobody knew who we were. We, as a commission, we tried to get the city to pay attention to us and let us move over here and have meetings at this time, like we're doing now. And it just fell on deaf ears. So I'm glad somebody finally recognized that the Park and Recreation Commission was a worthwhile endeavor, and you should, stop making it a stepchild. So I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad it looks like this now.
Cool, welcome. Anybody else? Go ahead.
Just also to the commissioners, we're very grateful to have you here. And also to our former director, Yvonne Wise, much thanks to her. She did an incredible job, and we wish her well in her future endeavors.
Okay, if nobody else has anything, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second. Thanks. The next Parks and Rec Commission meeting will be September 23rd.
What now? What if we can't be here to learn the light?
Meeting adjourned.
Then
Thank
you tell, oh yeah.
I tell,
Did you
right?
officially? Hold on, hold on. Tell me when we're.